Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting week of Sunday Night Skippy Racing League action. This is week 9 of our 4th season, and we are coming to you live from Circuit Zolder. Tonight's action is brought to you by the CAVOK Racing Network. That's CAVOK. You can search for us on both YouTube and Twitch. We are live on both, and the video on demand will be available immediately following the races on either platform as well, just in case you miss it. Today it looks like a beautiful evening, virtual evening to race at least. I will say that I am looking down the barrel of a squall line coming through, so if the broadcast goes out, more than likely it's because we lost power, and just giving you a heads up there that that is a high probability of happening. So other than that though, in virtual Belgium it's beautiful out. 65 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temperature. Just going to keep those track temps nice and cool for these drivers here this evening. And as always, with us this evening, I just said this evening, with us tonight is Ian Worrell for our in-race report. How you doing tonight, Ian?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. I hope you guys can hear me okay.
So far, so good.
All right, well, this is going to be interesting. Note where I'm coming out. This is the pit exit, straight into this corner. And there's a special rule tonight that we need to be aware of. Cars that are exiting the pit actually have right-of-way. So cars that are racing behind them have to make sure that they give them space to get around that corner. So that's going to be kind of fun. So I've just come out of the pits because I was running out of gas. I had to refuel. So I'm going to go all the way around, and then we'll do a virtual lap here at this wonderful track. And so, you know, as you say, the weather is good. I hope the score line leaves you alone. Back over there, Chris.
Yeah, it's we kind of live out in the sticks, so it's always kind of hit or miss. And we do have the generator, but by the time I get that up and running, you know, who knows? The race will be long gone. So yeah.
Yeah, well, these things happen, and they're sent to test us. So I mean, yeah, this is a kind of a cool little track. I am not going to be trying to say all these Dutch names for these corners.
I have
Well, there's a lot of Bachs here and a Bach there. I do have a friend who's Dutch, so I should really try and get in touch with her and get her to coach me through, you know, how to talk about
the guide.
Yeah, how to talk about some of these corners and things. Her name, just for interest, is Enrique Varga. All right, so here we go. Over the start-finish line, there's someone trying to get around beside me. This corner is going to be really interesting, especially at the beginning. You're going to see a lot of folks coming around here and drifting very wide. I'm just going to go around a bit more slowly, give him some space to get past me. There we go, let him by. Then we're coming into this turn 2. Oops, I'm in the wrong gear for this corner, but never mind. Nice little sweeper. Look at these curbs on my right and over there. You can see they're quite vicious-looking things. You don't want to be putting your car over those too regularly. And then this corner here is going to be another one where you're going to see people drifting off to the right, left-hand side here into that gravel trap. You'll also see quite a lot of drafting coming down here to the first really heavy braking zone, which is this first chicane. Braking sort of around where that candy wall starts and then crashing over those bollards. You don't want to take too much of them, or you're going to get an off track, or you'll get a time penalty, a slowdown. And then you come down here, there's another chicane. And you'll see some overtaking happening right up in here as people try to navigate their way around. Oh, look, there you go, I'm off track. Before we come up to the hairpin, which is just down here on, it's a first gear, hard right, big braking zone again here. You're going to have, you know, brave people diving down the inside, trying to pick that space up. And again, along here, that little kink really is nothing. It's flat out in these cars. You just drive through it. But you're coming again to yet another braking zone, which is right here, where they come around here. And again, you don't want to hit these. You don't want to hit that first one too much, because again, you get an off track. And then you're back over the start-finish line. And it's a pretty short. It's a pretty short little track, but it's kind of fun. I think you're going to see a lot of overtaking with the back markers by the front markers. And now you can see here's someone coming out of the pits, right? A couple of people coming out of the pits. So I have to make sure that I go wide enough around them to give them the space to get up to racing speed. And that's one of the things that we'll all have to be very conscious of and working hard at doing. But yeah, it should be a fun little race.
It's going to be a little bit different than Nords, I'd say. This is almost the exact opposite. We've got quite a few braking zones. Like you said, lap traffic could become quite the issue. That being said, pit strategy, not strict patagy, pit strategy might actually come into play here with some undercuts, overcuts, and people trying to decide when it behooves them to get in there. And you can already see, cars kind of littering the field as we're going around this track tour here, so hopefully that's not a sign of things to come.
Well, also, it's an easy track to defend on. You can make your car very, very wide on this track. You see these guys? There you go. And then he overbraked himself, or outbraked himself, and gave me the chance. Now, this is where the pit entrance is. So I'm just going to drive into the pit from here. Pitting in, pitting in. Whoa! He just stopped.
And that...
And there you go.
There was conversations about that happening earlier, and how important that coordination is going to be with drivers, because it's right in the braking point for pit entry is much later than for that chicane there, and it's the same line basically, so that's gonna potentially, as your nose cone goes away, cause some huge issues there. So there's quite a few choke points.
I think it went away, hit somebody from behind me. Oh my goodness me. Now of course that brings us back to we get a free repair in the race. You get one free repair, fast repair. I don't know why I'm not getting it in here right now, but that's kind of weird. But you get one free fast repair, and they'll fix the car like new for you. So that's
excellent.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, hopefully not too many people have to use it, but I
think there's going to be a lot of I think there's going to be a lot of folks who are going to have to use that today. It's a pity we don't have more.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe should have tucked the admins into bumping it up one or two, but well, that's going to be really interesting as we take a peek. You can see folks coming around the concrete barrier there to get into pit road, and it's a lot of choke points. Like you said, pit exit will keep focusing on you as you come out, just so people can get a sense of.
I also wonder how many people are going to crash on the pit exit.
Sure. I don't know if people could notice, for those of you who don't do iRacing, you can see there's a little bit of protection built in where the cars kind of are able to pass through each other once you're in that actual pit lane part of it. But at some point, that stops being protected and you can run into each other. And as you can see, it's quite congested.
Yeah, not fun. I've just come out on cold tires, so I'm not gonna fight too hard with anybody else that's out here. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a very, very busy.
Certainly, and those I thought it was a good point. I think you may have touched on it, or maybe I just made it up. But those first couple corners are, if you can remember, are very fast and sweeping. And on cold tires, it's really easy to kind of overdo it and get yourself in a real bad spot and lose traction, basically, because you're pushing it a little bit, you're close to that car in front of you, and you think, hey, maybe I just push it a little bit more than they can and get a free spot, and and that's how they get you.
No.
And then you're sideways.
Yeah, so let's go and have a look at where you want to be really keeping an eye on in the first couple of laps, while everybody's really going to be still bunched up a lot. So not only do you have to be very aware of sort of who's behind you, but you've got to be aware of. Oh, checking cert flags out, so I'm probably not going to get much time on this. But you've got to be very aware of where everybody else is, because they'll be potentially directly in front of you. And no.
Yep.
Unfortunately, no,
shot.
but worth a shot. We were trying. But yeah, so so you've got turn one, which is the first left-hander after the start finish straight. You're going to get a couple of folks probably go a bit wide on that. You might get a couple of people being a bit too eager and sliding off into the sand trap on the right-hand side. Then you'll get turn two, which is the sweeping right-hander. I don't think much is going to happen there. They're just pretty much flat out in the skippy. You just keep your foot on the floor, even with cold tires on that one. But I think it's turn three, or in fact it was. Let's see, 1, 2. So turn three or turn four, depending on how they number it. It's the one before the first chicane. That's where you're going to get folks sliding off into the gravel, losing the car a bit, and sliding back across the track. And look for some wrecks in the first couple of laps, right up in that corner, or just after that corner on the straightaway. Because as you come round it, if someone wrecks in front of you, you're going to be hitting them, and then that causes more
Right.
and more carnage. Then, as I say, you got your first heavy braking zone going down into the first chicane. Again, you might get a few folks getting a little loose and a little loosey-goosey down in there and sliding around. The candy stripe wall on the left-hand side as you come out of the chicane is easy to hit, so look out for that. The next chicane directly after, I think things will probably maybe settle down a wee bit. But again, people spinning on that and then other folks coming in and running into behind them. Then you go past that chicane, you've got a little left kink, you've got the right-handed hairpin, followed by the little kink, followed by another heavy braking zone, which is, as you were talking before, where the pit straight takes off and the cars that are on the racing line are going to brake heavily and turn left into that chicane back onto start-finish straight. So it's going to be interesting, and I guess I should qualify.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just for the viewers up there, that last part he was talking about was turn 10, just in case you didn't see, we got the track map up. And I'm not even going to pretend to try to announce that, what that name of that turn is. So, at any rate, let's go over a couple things there while we watch some folks. First things first, let's bring up the overall standings for the series right now. Chris Herrera currently leads Timo Broughton by 22 points. And Edwin Virino, 11 points behind them. That's your season podium right now. You can see, though, Jeffrey Decker, Carl Jonke hanging out right there. So certainly this thing is far from over. They have quite a good gap back to Mike Bowers in 6th place, and then from there on out, it is anybody's game. So all these drivers are going to be out there, and they've got something to race for. A position here, position there could be a huge difference moving forward. And find your favorite driver there, see where they are currently sitting, and we're still we had a power flicker here, so all right.
You're still with us.
We may not be much longer. I can't believe that we maintained continuity there. But yeah, pick out your favorite driver and see where they stand, and see the drivers around them who they have to finish ahead of in order to gain some standings going into week 9 right now. Only 12 races in the season, so we are running out of chances to gain positions. I will say too that we've had 4 different winners over the last 8 races for the season, and I think we're getting real close to my prediction. And I wish I would have brought that up now, but we definitely have a lot of different winners, and I'm hoping for a new one tonight. We're going to stay in Belgium next week for Spa, and then we've got Donington and then Bathurst. So it's going to be an exciting end to the season, and anything can happen from here on out for sure. And as we talk about that, we can also look at the team standings. Running on Empty has been overtaken by Snail Racing at the moment, but 1 point separates them. They've got quite a battle going on between those two teams. And the B team, not that far behind them. Now, you look back past Toxic, Adequate, Kaizen, Albino Buffaloes. The rest is basically kind of the rest of the field, if you will. But I'll tell you what, those first 3 teams, I would not count any of them out at the moment. Snail, Running on Empty, and the B team all still well within reach of that team championship. And a hello to Joe. And yeah, chicane and pit lane, exactly. We are, the pit lane I think may be the focus of some of our broadcasts tonight, for better or for worse. But there you go. Jason Bice is currently just taking over the lead spot from Edwin Viarino, so we're checking on him for just a moment while we just quickly talk about, I wanted to bring up the Sunday Night Skippy Winter Challenge. And this is a limited run series, for those of you who are not aware, a limited run series of 6 races, 1 race per month. It's actually the Winter Challenge for charity. And last night we had our second race of 6. And a big congratulations to Carrington Wilmer, who secured $250 donation to Best Buddies. And also Ruben Ray got second. And he secured, I believe, $95. I'm looking that up right here. $95 for Terapia. And then Antonio Bianchi secured $70 donation to the BC, the British Columbia Children's Hospital Foundation. And lastly, Daniel Pagofsky with the At Least You Tried award for a $10 donation to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So congratulations to all the drivers. Really, it was a great event. We had a lot of fun. A little over 20 drivers made the grid, and yeah, it was a lot of. Check it out on Apex Racing TV on demand. Our next race will be the Sunday Night Skippy Grand Prix, which is the F1 cars at Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. So that'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a couple little rule changes to make that interesting as well. Anyway, let's bring up the leaderboard, because nobody cares about that anymore. We are interested in what is happening on the field. Pete Mobron has overtaken the top spot. Chris Herrera, Jason Bice currently sitting near the top of the field. We do have 46 drivers registered for the race. I do believe that is over our stated limit. And I'm not 100% sure how that actually works out, if that is accurate. But either way, we're gonna have a full field, one way or another. I thought it was 45.
It's not really the word I would use.
Actually, I'm just getting word. Jake Ashe, one of the drivers that I was counting, is out due to work. I guess he got called in or something, so we may be right at our limit of 45 drivers gridding here. And we already talked about how exciting this track is going to be anyway, so why not? Let's add 45 drivers to the mix. And while I'm talking about that, I do understand that I'm only showing 35. I try to keep it a little shorter on the timing tower so that I can show driver information, but just for the minute, let's bring up... Nope, it only fits 42. That's all you're going to get anyway. So we're out of room. We are out of room on the timing tower. Good job, everyone. Well done. You broke it. Oh, boy. All right. Well, Peter Nodwell here setting a purple sector in Sector 5. And he's currently sitting in 6th. Lyndon McMurphy is able to set... Oh, at least momentarily. Yeah, no, he did. He set a purple sector in the last one and was able to bounce up to 8th position. At least momentarily, because Carl Dronke makes a big leap up to 5th after a very strong lap. Yeah, it definitely provides some incentive for that top 42. I mean, think about this. This is easily more than double what a public iRacing Skip Barber race is going to give you. So Oh my goodness, we're cutting off the field here, so let's do this. I will say this is a good problem to have. I'm happy that we have this many people showing up, coming out, and it's going to be a lot of fun, but you guys are not making this easy on me.
Dang.
Your current pole sitter, Chris Herrera, with a 145, almost broke 145, not quite. And you can look all the way down. Our 43 people have set a time so far. So I'm not sure if some of these folks are just not going to be. It looks like Jeremy Grandin has not set a time, and neither has Sammy Bridges. Those are the only folks who have not qualified yet. And right now, we've got a 13-second gap between first and 43rd.
Which is not that much, really.
It's not too bad, not too bad.
Speaking of gaps, did you manage to catch the Formula One race today?
I did not. It started a little early for me, and you guys kept, well, not you guys, but I was kept up way too late with that winter challenge. But I heard some good things about it. I'm looking forward to catching it on demand later.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but that was probably the best Formula One race that I have seen in many a year.
Naturally, the one I miss. I think it was the first one we missed all season, too.
Oh,
no, that's not true. I think we missed Sochi as well. I think that one was.
Well, let me tell you, get a beer, sit down and watch it. You won't regret it.
Outstanding.
It is outstanding driving.
And I think we have 4 laps. Is that correct?
Yeah, you just have 4 laps and that's it. And I've done my 4 laps, unfortunately, but I'm just poddling around, getting a little extra cheeky practice in.
Nothing wrong with that. I think we just have a few folks actually who haven't. Let's actually check back in here. Oh, there we go. Oh, there he is. I was going to say, Rich Butler has completed 3, although he is coming off a pit road, so this last counting lap may not be the fastest one that he was hoping for. Sammy Bridges, oh man, I don't know what the track limits are on that turn either, but he's currently on his last flying lap. Jonathan Dockery as well in the 47. Toxic Racing Machine. Reminder, if you do get an off track, or any incident really, the lap will not count. Louis is still out there. He's working on his last lap. I think that's about it. These are the last guys, and Louis got the highest position at the moment. He did have a green sector in sector 3 coming up to the start, or the last chicane before the start finish line here, so let's follow him and see if he's got anything left in the tank for a slightly higher grid position, which, as Frank points out, is going to be huge. Alright. That camera angle. Not so much. Remaining P18. Alright, well, we've only got about a minute left in the qualifying session anyway. I think Rich Butler is going to be the last of the drivers who have yet to complete 4 total laps as he makes his way around the last chicane. Currently sitting in 39th.
I think that might be it, just about.
And there you go. That's all she wrote. Alright, well, it does look like unofficially Chris Herrera will win the pole position and the bonus points that goes along with that. Rocking his new paint scheme, which is very exciting to see. Have not seen a new one from Chris in quite a while. Edwin
Yeah, I
Marino will
think.
start next front row-ish, I guess, next to him, kind of offset, but another good time. They were not separated by much. So let's bring up our official grid and listen in the driver's briefing as we like to do.
All right, guys, give me just 1 second and we'll get the driver's meeting started. Please don't grid until the driver's meeting is over.
All right, well, we'll scroll through here. You can find your favorite driver, see where they're starting tonight. You can see Ruben Ray, who got second place last night in the Winter Challenge, and Adam Wright, who took over the overall lead for the series. We're 2 races in of the 6, and Adam Wright currently your leader by 1 point, the overall standings.
Did we decide how many cars we were going to allow?
I did not see anything on the Discord. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
So a couple people do have black flags to serve this race. They're both drive-throughs. They're not stop and goes. Please do not start from the pits. So please wait at least 1 lap before you serve your penalties, and make sure that you serve them within 3 laps. Otherwise, you'll be automatically disqualified. It's also very advisable that you clear all services before you enter pit lane. That means your fuel, your tires, everything. Otherwise, you risk having the system increase your penalty. So we discussed in practice the apex of turn 2. The pit dumps right out onto turn 2, the apex, and actually that's a pretty high-speed corner for cars that are coming around. We did have a little bit of an issue last season, but we're gonna try the same approach. We think that there was some miscommunication, lack of clarity, and frankly, just people not listening to the driver's meeting. So hopefully that's fixed. But traffic that is coming out of the pits, if there is approaching traffic on the track, you are required to take the apex and stay on the apex. Well, not stay, don't park it, but keep a tight line as possible while oncoming traffic comes through. And similarly, oncoming traffic, you are required to yield the apex to any cars that are coming out of the pits. Pit entry. Just like with Montreal, like I said in practice, we had a couple incidents both at Montreal last season. I believe we had some incidents on pit entry at this track last season, and of course at our practice races earlier this week. If you're pitting, don't assume that the car in front of you is pitting as well, because if they're not, they're going to hard brake for that left turn in that last chicane, and you guys are going to make babies, so please don't do that.
Oh my.
What else? EQT is 1 minute 49 flat. So what that means is you have to have achieved that time on a lap that was either part of a public race session or in one of our sanctioned practice sessions. So either Wednesday
and that's a very,
night or
very,
Friday
very
night.
Generous time.
We have a couple new folks. One of the things that we find new members struggle with the most is sort of a shift in mentality here. So our race is 40 minutes. There's a mandatory pit stop. This is not like a public race where you have 25 minutes-ish to execute your strategy and win the race. You have quite a bit more time here, so there's less urgency. By the same token, we race with each other week in and week out, so please be as respectful as possible of the time that you've put into practicing for this race and the time that others have put in to practicing for this race. First chicane. We don't do no passing zones. That's just not really a thing. At the end of the day, we're racing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that some moves are less wise than others. There's probably a time and a place for putting somebody to a tough decision through that chicane, but we do ask that if you decide to overtake there, or if you're considering it, please seriously consider that and other life choices you've been making recently. In most cases, that's probably going to do more harm to yourself and the other driver than good. The time lost in doing so is what will probably create a larger gap between you and the pack in front, and a smaller gap between you and the pack behind. That said, there's certainly a time and place for everything, so at the end of the day, it really is up to you. You're not going to be penalized for doing it, but it's very difficult to do it safely, and you will be penalized for doing it unsafely. Significant overlap. There are probably a few opportunities on this track for a dive bomb. We frown heavily on dive bombs. Significant overlap just means that you need to have overlap with the car that you're overtaking before turn-in order for a pass to not be considered a dive bomb. So overlap is defined as your front wheel overlapping the rear wheel or rear axle of the car ahead. Really what that boils down to is if you get a spotter message, then you have overlap. If you don't get a spotter message before turn-in, then you didn't have overlap and you're required to back out of the pass attempt. Dive bombs that result in any kind of incident whatsoever are penalized as a Cat 3, which comes with a black flag at your next race. So please don't do that. What else? Don, Walter, Jeffrey, am I forgetting anything?
Just socially distance and wear your mask.
Hey, Dick?
Yes, for the love of God, please.
Yeah, I just want to call attention to, we have 46 drivers today.
Yeah, I'm okay with, so normally what Walter's referring to is we normally cap it at 45 drivers, and so we go off of qualifying order, but unless anybody else objects, I'm fine with having 46 on the grid.
Yeah, you might want to let them know.
One thing I would like to also say is because we've got so many drivers, be cognizant of blue flags. Blue flags are not a suggestion; they are a mandatory let the guys through. And I know you can usually say something about that, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Ian said, blue flags are instructional, not informational. So if you receive a blue flag with lapping traffic coming up behind you, you are required to facilitate a pass, or at the very least not make it difficult to pass. Again, for new members, what that really boils down to is your blue flag is given, I believe, when you're within a second and a half. What we want to see happen is by the time that there's contact, which is 1 second, that's when the draft begins, that you're making plans for letting the drivers behind by. If you yield a corner to lapping traffic or do anything that indicates that you're yielding the corner, such as pulling off the line and slowing down, then it is absolutely critical that you make sure that you yield the corner. We've had a number of situations in the past where people have acted like they were going to yield the corner, and then they met at the apex with the lapping traffic, and bad stuff ensued. Give me 1 second. I'm going to extend the gridding time here.
While he's doing that, I'll say in the first chicane, if you think you're going to lose the back end on entry, you can bail out of that corner across the grass, and you'll get a slowdown, but it's probably better than wrecking. So just something to consider.
So getting back to the blue flags real quick, just if you yield a corner, make sure that you yield it, and make sure that you yield it to everybody who's coming up. So if you have, say, positions 1, 2, and 3 are coming up behind you, don't just let positions 1 and 2 by and then reclaim your line and cut position 3 off, because that will cause them to lose contact with the cars ahead, and if they're coordinating with a draft, then position 3 will never catch them again. So when you let people by, make sure that you let the entire group by. Don't park your car anywhere on the track. That tends to give off yellow flags to other drivers. Also, be very careful with re-entries. If you wipe out, if you're coming back onto the track, make sure that you do so parallel to the racing line and only after any oncoming traffic has passed. Bad news is once you loop it and you're off the track, you're not as important as the people that are still there. They're still on the track. To Jeffrey's point, through the first chicane, if you feel like you're going to lose it, he's absolutely correct. If you try to save it, you risk doing a lot of damage to your car. You risk spinning out. You risk hitting the wall. The slowdown penalty you get for just avoiding it and going straight through it is much less severe than options B, C, D, and E. So just make good choices there. Any questions?
Yes, Jason, if I yield because I'm being lapped and the guy I'm racing that's behind me, he passes me because of my yield, should he give back the position?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I've thought a lot about that. That really boils down to good sportsmanship. I'm hesitant to set a hard and fast rule without talking to the other officials and the stewards. But to Oliver's point, if you're racing somebody and you're a lap or more down and the person that you're racing lets traffic through, it really is pretty poor form to take advantage of that and claim a position. All right, 1 minute.
All right, you heard it there. Quite the obviously a lot of information to get out there for all the drivers. A lot of good rules and just reminders. And it's tough because we're gonna have 45 drivers on the grid, and there's just a lot that could go wrong. I think even with all that, there's still probably going to be tempers that are going to be flaring. Got it, understood. Not much you can do about it. So
you think there could be a lot to go wrong. 45 or 46 cars going through. Look at this. I mean, I can't even see the guys in the front. Carl Dronke just said good luck all, which basically means the kiss of death for about half the field.
You guys are people back in that last in that chicane there, so I don't know what could go wrong.
Oh my goodness me. This is going to be a sight to see. Let me tell you, 46 skippies streaming off of the starting grid. I think the idea is just to get through the first lap or two before you worry about anything.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Lights are about to go out here. Week 9, Sunday Night Skippy Racing League action, Circuit Zolder, and the cars are off. Swarm of skippies, I believe that's what you call that many skippies trying to get their way around turn 1. A swarm. You can see plenty of room being given, but there's just no way around it. You're going to be going 3, 4, sometimes more wide there. These are these first few corners that are going to be quite tricky to navigate. As these cold tires get warmed up, it's easy to just kind of slide right off. So far so good though, as Chris leads the train of 45 drivers through the first chicane, and actually only one off track that I'm showing so far, so people giving themselves
crash in the first chicane.
Oh, there we go. And the fun begins. I'm showing Daniel Pogowski, Steve Dewar.
Big crash in the second chicane.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's go back and see what happened a little bit further. Daniel Pogowski getting in the back, locking it up. Oliver Hartley comes in, spins Steve around. Looks like Walter Collada there, trying his best. Rich Butler riding on the 88 car. Just a bunch of stuff going on there. See Sammy Bridges also involved. This is later on. Lee Baboni here. I believe this is going to be the second chicane accident. Nope, he's just going to go straight through. Did not make the corner there. Actually, that's pit road. I apologize. It's all the way there. So, R. Scott Bell involved in a crash. Oh no, these are all just everybody pitting. So those are not actual crashes. That's just my overlay. Let me know that everybody's going into the pit road there. So, all right. Back at it, ladies and gentlemen. We will try to unpack that later. I always struggle with whether or not to show the crashes or the race, but here we go. Robert Loncatano, I'm showing, has crashed as well. But that is just him in pit road. Yeah, so I'm going to have to be real careful. I'm getting a lot of crash indications just from people entering pit road. I'm not sure why that's going on. But either way, here we go. Chris Herrera leading the field. Edwin Viorino, Jason Bice, Pete Mobrotten, Jeffrey Decker, Carl Dronke, Jack Moffitt, Peter Nodwell, Judah Tolman, and Jonathan Dance will make it for top 10. Last week's winner, Judah Tolman, up one spot so far, up to P9. Trying to work his way through the field and see if he can't get his second win. Why not? All right, looks like most everybody is on their way back out of pit road who is involved in those early incidents. Fresh off their fast repairs, no doubt. I'm certain a full tank of fuel as well. Sean Trediak going off track. Let's see if we can see what happened there. I think that just happened. I think that's just those cold tires. Yeah, once you get those left tires onto the grass there, it's tough to bring it back. But coming back to live racing action, you can see the top four have really set themselves apart. Oops, you wouldn't know that because I still have best time up. 3 laps into the race. I do apologize. And the track map, I'm getting a request for that as well. Yes. There we go. Honestly, this is about as early as we'd probably make sense showing the map anyway, just because of how many dots are going to be on there. But there you go. You see the green dot there of who I'm focused on, which at the moment is Chris Herrera leading the race. The top 4 now, 2 seconds ahead of Jeffrey Decker, who's got a pack of 5 himself, all the way back to Judah. And they've got another 2 seconds back to P10 of Jonathan Dance now, who's up 4 spots. So Jonathan Dance working his way up through the field as everything comes to a screeching halt.
I mean, it comes to a screeching halt. What happened?
I don't know if it's my internet or, oh, somebody, Carl Dronke. Into pit road. I thought I saw somebody's engine blow up, but I'm not sure what happened to Carl there. Carl in a bad spot though. Yeah, his engine may have blown. I don't know. He's limping it back. Very interesting. Well, at any rate, we'll bring it back to the top 4. They continue to put time down on the folks behind them. Let's bring up the lap times. You can see there, Mobron setting a fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:45.321. And you can see anywhere between 0.7 and a second and a half they're gaining per lap on that pack behind them, led by Jeffrey Decker. So if any of these guys are faster, you can see Jonathan Dance now up 5 spots, trying to work his way back up. And around Rich Butler, it looks like Jonathan's got some speed tonight, but I'll tell you what, those lead cars are making quick work of the rest of the field, so he's going to have to start pedaling. Oh, and we've got a crash. Oh, they touch wheels again. We got more cars around. That's Doug Metzel, who had been up quite a few spots up until that point. Let's try to see what happened in slow motion here. That is the 398 of Doug Metzel, and it just gets backed up there behind Rich Butler. Yeah, that's Doug, loses the nose cone, and then it just kind of escalates from there. And that's going to be the 16, I believe, of Paul Bachler, I want to say. Yeah, let's try to take one more look at that. Nope. All right, you know what? We've lost it there. You got the idea. We're going back live. Let's go back up to the front and ride along board here with Chris Herrera. So, top four maintaining their gap. You can see there is Jeffrey Decker bringing around everybody else of Jack Moffitt, Peter Nodwell, and Judah Tolman. And there is the 93 car of Jonathan Dance trying to make contact there with that second group and kind of leapfrog his way up. Still up 5 spots total. Further back is Lyndall McMurphy in P10 in that 63, that blue 63 car. Got some close racing further back here. Scott Dawkins, I'm trying to say it right, Dawkins in the 99. Dawkins, Max, giving him the look on the right side, and they're gonna take it up. Oh, lost. Yep, there we go. A little bit of internet there. The 308's gonna make the pass, but he and Kyle Reed, both Scott and Kyle Reed, in the 888, not giving it up just yet. League newcomer Pim Luth has crashed. Let's check in there out. This may look like just another pit entry, I hope. Yep. All right. As we ride along board here with Kyle Reed. Back in that scuffle there for P16. Scott Dawkins is actually up 11 spots so far tonight. So Scott, another one of those guys, kind of working his way through the field. Don Parks, further back in that 54 car, doing what he can to keep Jeff Fithian there in place. Don down 7 spots so far, I believe, involved in an early accident. So seeing if he can't salvage any of that. Same with Walter Collada. The 10 of JR Hoops is right on their tail, and Nelson Addison leading them through that chicane. And there he is in the 68 John Player Special Formula 2000. So there's good racing going on. A little further back, R. Scott Bell and Daniel Pogowski, both involved in early incidents, and this is the battle for P34. If this won't mess up. Scott doing what he can to start working his way back up. He's down 9 spots total. Oh, that's a risky move, and he's going to send Daniel Pogowski around. And that's going to be it for them. That was a low probability overall move there. That'll be it for them. You can see Steve Dewar eyeing them down. He's next back in P36, so he'll be eyeing those positions right there as easy pickoffs. Let's come back up here. This is that second group. We haven't really focused on them too much other than to mention it. Jeffrey Decker leads Jack Moffitt, Peter Nodwell, and Judah Tolman. I want to ride along board here with Judah real quick. He's on the back end. He's got the best view of this race. Currently the battle for P5. And that gap up to Pete continues to expand. Real quick, let's check in. Walter Collada, I'm getting an indication, has crashed. I'm not sure. I do not believe this is a pit road thing. Looks like JR Hoops is going to get in and kind of swoop him around, and that's going to be just a touch of damage for him. Somebody lost, looks like they lost a nose cone, but I couldn't tell exactly who. And Carter Stickney is pitting. Ian Worrell, also in pit road. All right. Anyway, back up here. Let's ride along board with Judah for just a little bit longer. And we're 14 minutes into a 40-minute race, so we're not quite to the pit window yet, and I think Judah knows that. He knows he's got quite a few fast drivers in front of him, so kind of probably just enjoying the tow for the moment and biding his time. I think if he can have as good of a pit stop as he did last week at Nords, I think he's probably got a pretty good position to jump a few places, although that gap up to that front pack is now at 5 seconds, so that seems to be the top 4 drivers having a really strong outing tonight, and I just do not know that, barring an incident, these guys will have much for them. But you never know. Let's look back here. Lyndall McMurphy working on the 80 of Paul Beatty.
The 80 of Paul Beatty?
80 of Paul Beatty.
There you go.
This is the battle for P10 right now. Top 10 position, that's always nice. Ultimately, points-wise, the difference between 10th and 11th is not that much, but boy, that looks good on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I had to go in for a quick repair, so I'm going to have to pit twice in this race.
Yeah, it's not good for the timing, but I want to focus back here on Bill Groombridge of the Albino Buffaloes in that Blue Angels car. He's got Ruben Ray, last night's P2 finisher. Kind of hanging out on his gearbox there. And I don't know if that's just me. Oh, this is the cockpit there. I don't know if I can clear his windscreen or his tear off, his visor tear off for him, but that looks like it's difficult to see. Here's Adam Wright, your winter challenge for charity leader, currently looking up at Jeff Torbeck and Scott Dorkins for P18. Adam up 4 spots, Jeff up 10, and Scott up 10 too. So there you go. A bunch of fast drivers working their way through the field. Looks like Adam got a really good run off of one there. Looks like Paul Bachler's going to be in the pits. Still just a touch early, I would think, for fuel stops, but Then again, that's why I'm broadcasting and not racing.
Yeah, this pit is really hard if you're trying to go in and someone else is going to be, you know, not going in. I have a train of cars, Jeffrey Decker, Jack Moffat, Peter Nodwell, coming up behind me.
Yep, that'll be your group.
And try
That's
and
your
find
battle
somewhere
for
that
P5 right
past
there.
me.
And that's the tough part. That is the tough part, and that's what Jason was referring to in the pre-race meeting. That blue flag will appear on the driver's display when the if they're a lap down. There'll be a blue flag with a yellow stripe on it, and that's their indication that lead lap traffic is coming through. And in some races, it's informational, and in some, it's instructional. In our case, it's instructional. It means please get out of the way at your earliest opportunity. And on courses like this, sometimes it's not that easy. And here's Walter really working his way up there to Jonathan Dockery, and there's the 903 of Andrew Cole. He's going to be side by side with Andrew Cole through these sweeping turns. Man, it's hard to... Nice wide track there, fortunately, on those large radius turns. Alright, well, I think we're doing pretty good. Let's check back in with the leaders here. Chris Herrera currently, team running on empty, still leading the field, chasing everybody. Get a really nice shot at that new paint scheme there. Reminds me of a 90s beach party. I don't know if that's supposed to be a good thing.
I think Peter Nodwell just went into the pits.
Yeah, Edwin and Judah also into the pits. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are approaching the halfway mark of the race, and the strategy game is afoot. You can see Edwin, and there's Judah. Ruben Ray also in the pits, and Carter Stickney, but I think he was in there from before. I believe he may have damage. There's Kyle Reed, currently sitting P14. Have not had a chance to talk about him too much there, though. I love that 888 car number, though. He also has a very cool paint scheme. But I do not reduce people to their paint schemes. I'm just not about that. Jason Bice having a great run tonight. Sitting in P2 with the pit stop strategy playing out. So Chris gobbling up those laps led, those bonus points. And Jason happy to hang there for the moment. Pete Mobron knows again. No, it's just tough. You got fast drivers ahead of you. You got to pick your spots when you're gonna try to pass. It's not as easy as it looks. There's Snail Racing. Great shot at that with Andy and Larry. That's another. I'm not calling it a sister league or anything like that, because I don't know, but we do have quite a bit of crossover with that Snail Racing, especially the Race to Learn. That's what the RTL is, Race to Learn. Another great community for learning just kind of the basics of how to race. I think specifically road. I don't know that they do much oval, but maybe someday. But yeah, good road racing. I know Pete helps instruct and race admin over there. So we do have more folks getting in the pits. You'll see the pop-outs there. And as we like to do, let's bring up our pit lap so you can see exactly who has pit, who has not, and kind of how this is going to play out. So Actually, Peter Nodwell and Jack Moffitt, currently the best of the rest at the moment. They're 9 seconds back now from that lead group of Chris, Jason, and Pete. Folks in there on Jack Moffitt, give him another shout out. He was kind of the original benefactor, the guy who started off the Winter Challenge for Charity idea and making it about making other people's lives better. So shout out to Jack. Really good dude, and is currently sitting in P5, having a great race thus far. All right, we have more takers to pit road. Not on that list is Chris Herrera and Jason Bice so far. But you can see the rest of them. Pete Mulbroughton, Peter Nodwell, Jack Moffitt, Jonathan Dance, Mike Bowers, Paul Beatty. The list goes on. It looks like everybody's getting in on it. Although Lyndall McMurphy does look like he is going to pass for the moment. We just passed the 23-minute mark of that 40-minute race. But you can really start to see we've got everywhere from lap 9, lap 10. We're currently on lap 13. You'll probably see either 14 or 15, so quite a difference. Chris Herrera now making just a bit of time on Jason Bice. And actually, let's bring up gap instead of interval now so you can kind of see where everybody stands in relation to the leader. All right, let's see if they take on lap 14. Here's your leaders coming in, Chris and Jason. What will they do? Both of them will come into pit. Oh, no, wait, sorry. No, they are, okay. They take that much quicker than I do. All right, so that leaves Lyndall McMurphy coming around the final chicane. About to come through the final chicane. No, it looks like he's almost running out of fuel there, so that's pretty funny. Those guys really pushed it right toward the end. Pete Mulbroughton, P4. Let's keep an eye on where they are versus where you can see Chris Herrera's dot there kind of grayed out as Pete comes around the last chicane. Let's see. Chris Herrera still in the pit. Jason Bice is out. Chris Herrera's out. Jason beats Chris off of pit road. And here comes Pete Mulbroughton into the pit. Pete Mulbroughton into the pit. He already pit. He must have had a penalty. Oh my goodness. That's going to leave Jason Bice in the lead. Chris Herrera in second. Edwin Viorino in third. Jack Moffitt in fourth. Everybody has pit at this point. Oh, that is heartbreaking for Pete. I do not know what happened. Yikes. That's gotta hurt. Alright, well, the strategies have bore out, and we are where we are. Currently, Jason Bice leads the field over Chris Herrera, Edwin Viorino, Jack Moffitt. And honestly, at the moment, it's the Jason and Chris show. You can see the gap there back to Edwin and Jack, and then beyond. The closest racing we've got going on right now here, this threesome, if you will, of Jack, Jeffrey, and Judah Tolman, 4, 5, and 6. Sammy Bridges is going to duck in one more time. This is looking back from Jack Moffat's view. So in P4, you can see both Jeffrey Decker and Judah Tolman chomping at the bit as we pass 27 minutes. And they start lap 16 of the race.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of laps in this race, even though it's still the same amount of time.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, it's... I guess any track is going to be a little weird coming off Nordschleife, but... Right on board here with Judah for just a little bit longer. Looks like Steve Dewar's back in, Rich Butler back in the pits. Judah dives it in there real deep. He's trying to find ways. You got to find ways to gain just a 10th here and a 10th there against some of these guys. It's not as easy as it looks. These are all very fast, very competent, very capable drivers all through the field. Let's check back just a little bit further here. Pete Mobron now working his way back up, down 10 spots total. He's got Nikolai Wood now 3 seconds ahead, and he's 40 seconds back from the leader overall. So it's gonna take nothing short of a miracle. Back up here for the lead, Chris Herrera. Oh, Jason lets off. He's gonna let Chris Herrera back by. So Chris takes the lead. They still maintain 5 seconds over Edwin, and another back to Jack is 11 seconds. It does look like Judah has overtaken Jeffrey Decker, though, so now Jack Moffitt in his sights. And he is right on his bumper. Jack throwing some blocks there, but to no effect, it appears, as we go down. Into the chicane. And this is where you're just kind of trying to make the driver in front drive in their rearview mirrors and not pay attention to their braking zones and just kind of make an unforced error. But yeah, Judah's showing some sudden speed there. Nice little burst. As Daniel Pogowski is back on pit road. Let's look back here. Walter Collada, Adam Wright, Scott Dorkins involved in a three-way battle for P18. Walter Collada back up 22 spots, is that right? Can't be right. Adam Wright and up 5, and Scott's up 10. Wow, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this time is just kind of flying by on me here. We're approaching 9 minutes remaining in the race, or thereabouts, I guess. I'm sure at this point you guys know how timed races work, but we are counting down the minutes. Time is flying when you're having fun. Really enjoying it. Paul Beatty making the move on Lyndall McMurphy. Just caught that out of the corner of my eye. This is the battle for P9. Paul, Lyndall, and Ruben Ray. Great looking battle there.
Whoa.
Chris Herrera able to eke out about 0.4 seconds, still not able to hit that half-second lead over Jason Bice. Judah Tolman has since passed Jack Moffitt He is now sitting in P4, up 6 spots. 7.5 seconds up to Edwin Viorino, though, for that podium spot. So really counting on a mistake or a slip up from Edwin, which good luck with that one, but I guess stranger things have happened. Jonathan Dance and Peter Nodwell here in P7 and P8. They got quite a ways back to Paul Beatty in P9. Lyndall McMurphy leading that aforementioned train of Ruben Ray and Bill Groombridge. I'm sorry. Disregard. Paul Beatty, Lyndall, and Ruben in the battle now for P9. I cans do math on occasion. Great. Here, Walter, Scott, Louis, Adam. 4-way battle for P18. Holy cow, they're 2 by 2. They are a beam, they are abreast, however you want to call it. they were doing it there through that final chicane. They will get it sorted out just a bit, but holy cow. Sammy Bridges looking on. He is at least 1 lap down, though. So he's just kind of enjoying the view for the minute. Looking back from Walter's view as we tick down 6 minutes remaining in the race. We have completed 20 laps. We've got great racing for the lead. We've got great racing for P4, P7. I mean, all through the field. It's really hard to keep up. It does look like here, though, that Walter's going to gain just a bit through that set of turns and kind of leave Sky, Louie, and Adam in a lurch for just a little bit. As I'm talking here, we did have Max is back into pit lane, but I'm not 100% sure why. I did miss that. Mike Bowers and Andrew Cole
staying out.
Internet's going crazy. Andrew Cole, though, making the pass on the 903. No, I'm sorry. Mike Bowers made the pass on the 903. Trying to work his way back up. Jason's kind of fallen back just a little bit from Chris, but still maintaining pretty good contact. Let's go check up with them. You can see there as they pass. I believe that's Steve Dewar, but that's Edwin. Now just about 6 seconds behind. And 7 seconds back from them, Judah Tolman is leading Jack Moffitt and Jeffrey Decker. In the 73 car, Peter Nodwell and the 93 of Jonathan Dance is your P8, and coming around the corner on that chicane, the 80 car of Paul Beatty in 9th. A little further back there in the 78 is Ruben Ray in 10th. Lyndall McMurphy in 11th. And we've got side-by-side action going here. Adam Roy's gonna, he gets loose through the turn, and that's gonna send Scott end over end. Great battle they had going on there, and that is gonna be that, I'm sure. They both feel, I cannot imagine Scott Dorkin's stream right now. That is gonna be fantastic. I want to hear that.
I imagine Scott will be a little miffed.
It would be fun to listen to. All right, back up here for the lead. Jason drives it in. I think he's realizing that they do not have too many laps to go. So let's figure something out here. 37 minutes. We are on lap 21. I do believe we're going to have 2 laps remaining. So time is running out for anybody really to make a move. Chris and Jason. Go back to Interville here for just a second so you guys can see where the faster, or the closer intervals are throughout the field. Judah able to put in a little bit of gap there on Jack, which is good, but unable to shake Jeffrey Decker at the moment. Peter Nodwell and Jonathan Dance having some fun. Ruben Ray, Lyndall McMurphy having a pretty good battle. And further back, let's check out JR Hoops and Mike Bowers. Looks like JR's trying to hold off Mike, working his way up through the field, but those are going to be your closest races here. Jonathan Dance right now on the gearbox of the 73. You can see as they get through the chicanes that you're able to dive it in, but typically the lead car is able to get a better run off. Not the case right there as I say that, not the case. Jonathan keeping it pretty close. No. Welcome to the broadcast, Scott. Yeah, no, I had not practiced the turn names. I just call them the chicanes. They're basically all chicanes.
The dinging box
so
and the
what are you
something
gonna
box
do?
and the diggle box.
Yeah,
and
something
the
chicane bach. Steve,
but you know that they call the second chicane the second chicane. It's turn 7, and it's like 5 corners.
Well, that one I got. That one I could get. All right, checking in here. This should be the white flag lap. Chris Herrera takes the white flag. Jason Bice still about 0.4 seconds, just unable to really make any sort of gains or losses, really. They've been holding strong, but this is it. I wonder how aggressive Jason is going to be, because this would be a fantastic finish for him. You cannot turn your nose up at a P2, but at the same time, you've got the victory right there. It's just right there. Will you go and get it? Chris is going to lead them down into the hairpin. Only a couple turns remain to make a move. One more chicane, and then the final stretch. Jason's going to dive it in, but does not look like he has ultimately anything for Chris Herrera, who's going to come across the line with the victory, and there you go. Vitorino, Judah Tolman coming in P4. Jeffrey Decker, I'm sorry, Jack Moffitt, Jeffrey Decker, Peter Nodwell, Jonathan Dance. Comes Paul Beatty in that 80 car. Ruben Ray is next. A great battle coming up here with Lyndall McMurphy. Fantastic stuff. Bill Groombridge, Pete Mo Broughton after the pit penalty, I assume. Nikolai Wood is next. Great battle here for Adam Wright and Mike Bowers. They're making their way through the last chicane. This is their last great battle, I do believe. Mike Bowers ultimately unable to make anything of it there at the end. A great finish.
Apparently I have wheel damage. I don't think I have any wheels. Oh wait, no, I do have wheels.
And our traditional Sunday Night Skippy, I don't know, breakfast. Oh boy. Yes, everybody, thanks for watching. Nikolai, 15th, number one in our hearts. Absolutely. Great to see him out there racing. Pretty good finish, I'd say. I mean, considering how much he's gotten to race lately, I'd say that's certainly much, much, much better than I could do. Especially, you got to take into account this is a 45 driver grid. So certainly nothing to sneeze at. Congratulations again to Chris Herrera, Jason Bison, Edwin Viorino on their podium. Judah Tolman, last week's winner. Great overall result there. Still P4, up 6 spots. Jack Moffat's going to round out your top 5. And I do believe we're final. I don't know why I'm trying to speak it. There we go. We'll just bring it up. Jeffrey Decker, Peter Nodwell, Jonathan Dance, Paul Beatty, and Ruben Ray are going to round out your top 10. And I will scroll through the rest as we look and see if anybody is actually in the mood to talk tonight, which isn't always the case, but I do think we're gonna have some folks.
I think we might. We just barely,
think
maybe
we might. All right. Well, actually, speaking of which, let's talk to Jack Moffat, who ended up 2 spots, I believe, overall in P5. A great top 5 finish. And was part of the, I guess, the second pack is what we were calling it on the broadcast. I don't know what if you guys came up with a team name or anything like that during the race, but talk us through what you saw tonight, Jack.
Yeah, we were a nice second pack there. Actually, Jeffrey Decker had been in the pub race at the 7:15 Eastern pub race, and we had a close race the whole time. I think he started P4 or 5, and I started P2 or 3 in that race. And we were just at each other the whole time, just like this one. So it was just felt like we've been fighting for 2.5 hours. Yeah, it was really good. We were all sort of just staying together and not trying to do anything crazy. And then Jeffrey, I think, pitted first, which caught me a little off guard because I was thinking I was going to follow him. So I went around until I was low on fuel and figured I'd pit the next one. And I beat, who was behind me? Peter Nodwell, I think, out of the pits by quite a bit, and I came out just in front of Jeffrey. And that little bit of pit strategy is, I think, what gave me the P5 instead of the P6.
Yeah, it was great to see that. Quite a change from Nordschleife, obviously, but you saw a range of pit strategies come into play, and actually some pit penalty. What I imagine is a pit penalty with Pete there. Come into play. I don't know if he's going to want to interview and talk about that, but it was really cool to see what everybody was thinking. Did you know going into it what you wanted to do? This is something I always ask because I'm just so. One of the things that is always said about our league in the Discord is a draw to it are these pit stops, and I don't think that a lot of people who are watching understand that that's not a normal thing for these Skip Barber races. That's just not part of it in the normal public racing structure. So I always love to hear what you guys go into the race thinking. If you just kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna scat freestyle this, or you kind of have something in mind based on your public races the week prior.
Yeah, I mean, I think this track is especially interesting because pit entrance is you have 2 possible braking markers. If you're by yourself and no one's in front of you, you can brake extremely late, like right where the that curve in the white paint is, and you can brake right there and still make it down to pit speed just in time. But if there's someone in front of you and they're not pitting, you have to brake at the normal spot, which is way back under the bridge, basically. And so you really want to be the first person in a pack when you pit, because you're going to, save 2/10 or whatever off of your pit time right there. So this one was kind of interesting because of that. I had to go behind somebody, but since they pitted in front of me, I was able to let off the brake after I just tested it out a little bit. But yeah, it makes it a lot of fun because you can actually get quite a bit of time in the pits if you're careful. Like if you are calculating your fuel just right and you stay in the draft and don't fight too much, you can get an extra lap out of that. And so on some of these tracks where it's hard to pass, especially this one, passing somebody by getting a pit stop in and being really efficient is one really good way to do it.
Awesome, man. Well, it was a great finish. I'm glad that the strategy worked out. I think it's said a lot. We say it a lot, but I kind of want to foot stomp it. Is these drivers that we're racing against are very, very fast, very consistent. You can't really count on mistakes. I know the races that I race in the public races, you can kind of just count on other people messing up and gaining spots like that. But that is just simply not the case in the Sunday Night Skippy Racing League. So to go out there and execute and have a strategy and have it work out, it's got to be very, very satisfying. And I just wanted to see if you had anybody else to say hi to or shout out before we let you go.
Yeah, I figured I should just give you a shout out because you've been putting on these great winter challenge races. We had a lot of fun yesterday, and hopefully people are catching those if they're watching these. A lot of the same drivers are there, and it's pretty interesting because we're doing different cars every time, and it's super fun. And last night was a really hard one, and I had some bad luck, but it was still really fun. So thanks, Chris. And thanks for the broadcast, you and Ian.
Awesome, man. We really appreciate it.
If it wasn't for the others, we couldn't do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. Yep. Everybody's showing up. Jack, you started and I brought this up already, so I won't embarrass you too much anymore, but the whole bringing the charity piece into it, I think, embarrassed I didn't think of it myself, but it was just, it's great that we get to have fun, go out and do that with a good group of folks, and then, just kind of bring money and attention to causes that mean a lot to us too. And I think it's a whole nother level to the competition. So it's been a lot of fun.
All right. Good night, guys.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
Have a good one. All right. Well, we have quite the lineup here. Let's bring in Paul Beatty, who ended up P9, up 4 spots, if my notes are correct, and a pretty good race overall. Paul, what did you see out there tonight?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, mate.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, that was quite a fun race. It was quite how should I put it, more measured. There was more of a stalking race than all sort of mental and everyone up each other's gearbox. It was a lot of fun.
Did it go how you would expected it to go?
A bit better, really. This isn't a particularly strong track for me, so yeah, getting a top 10, I'm really happy with that. I was surprised actually, so yeah, good race. Had a good race with Ruben and Lyndall and Mike Bowers there, and everyone was driving really well, so it was really cool.
Excellent. It's always fun to see all these people out there.
Sorry,
go ahead, mate.
Did you? Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So, did you get a lot of public races in prior to this? I don't know what I think some people, if they don't like the track, they'll just I'm gonna skip that this week and we'll just race it Sunday night with these guys or whatever time it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
But others are like, I'm bad at this, so I want to practice. There's kind of two philosophies to it. So, which one do you choose?
It depends on the track. Like this one, I don't find enough fun or challenge, I guess, out of the chicane. So I just did 4 races this week. But there's some tracks that I'll do 30 or 40 races if just to get good at it. This one, just hit and miss. For whatever. I'll take a drop week. I sort of fluked a half decent result in one of the officials, and that'll do.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah. If you, anybody else you want to say hi to before we let you go?
Oh yeah, the guys I was racing with. That was real good fun today. That's what I like about league racing is that when you've got a competitive soft, there's not much pace difference. Whereas in league racing, it doesn't matter if you're a bit quicker or a bit slower. You can always find someone to have a little good time with. So yeah, it's good fun. So just everyone else who was on track, good job, everyone. It's good fun.
Nice one, mate.
Well, it's certainly a lot of fun to watch you guys. Yeah, you put on a hell of a show.
All right, chaps. I'll see you
All
at
right,
Spa,
man.
which is a good track for me. So
There you
hopefully,
go.
Indeed.
All
Just
right,
up the
buddy.
road.
All right,
We'll
dude.
see you there.
all right.
All right, and just so the folks who are watching, he said a competitive SOF, that is strength of field, SOF is what he was referring to in the public races there. So they will split. Obviously, there's a lot more people that can participate in a single race, so they will split the field according to your I rating, which is just kind of, it's a number that shows how good you are and how good you should feel about yourself. And some people have higher I ratings, but all joking aside, that is just kind of how they split the field, and they call it the strength of field based on that I rating number that you have. It's you kind of level up or level down based on where you finish. So
it's a good way of trying to get drivers who are of a equal sort of ability racing each other.
it's about as good of an attempt at doing that as you are going to get.
Yep.
it's a tough thing to do. So all right, well, let's normally. Actually, you know what? Judah just popped in. I'd like to talk to Judah, last week's winner, who still had a very strong showing. I'm showing up 6 spots total, finished in P4, just outside the podium, but still made a late charge there. You had a couple of fast drivers with Jack and Jeffrey ahead of you, and you were able to make the pass nice and clean and end up at the front of that pack. And I don't know if the podium was ever really in reach after that, but Judah, tell us what you saw this evening.
So first things first that I want to point out is my car, I ran my setup much, much lower than everyone else. So I had to be very careful of the curbs, but in that first section, I was much quicker than most of the guys I was battling with. So that was a big advantage for me. And I was just trying to keep it together the last half of the lap because that was where everyone would pull away. And kept it together, had a good pit stop, got the undercut done, and ended up a couple seconds behind Jack and Jeffrey, and just was able to catch up with them through them battling, through my quickness through the first section. And then eventually, once I passed them, it was just kind of a hot lapping session. So I was pleased with my performance. I ran out of fuel on the finish line again, which is cutting it a little too close, man.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Perfect feeling. The problem is, did you run out of fuel like it completely empty, or were you kind of doing that thing?
It was just the engine was cutting out and cutting back in. As soon as I crossed the line, it started to cut out, and boy, am I happy I timed that fuel well.
Oh my lord! Yeah, I tell you, boy,
that is fantastic.
When you start losing that power, all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I need another
scary.
Yeah, I need another half a liter will do,
Yep, 100%. Well, thank you guys as always for the broadcast. Thank you for bringing me into the interview booth. I appreciate it.
So who have you got
awesome,
watching?
Man. Well, have a great night.
Folks out there tonight?
What's that, Ian?
You got folks out there watching tonight?
Yes, I do. My family again. Just thanks to them as always for watching the broadcast and supporting me. Even if it's not a win this time, it's still a mighty good finish, and I'm happy that I got to show that to people. People
good
got
stuff,
to watch.
Mate. Give them a good shout out.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
Shout out to all of those guys. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys very much.
Alrighty.
Adios.
Take care, my friend.
Adios. All right, well, that was Judah Tolman, P4, and it's funny to hear him talk about, it wasn't a win. Just so everybody's aware, it is extraordinarily difficult to get a win in this league, and the fact that he got that last week at Nords is and that quickly, I gotta say is exceptional and just not something we've seen before, really. And so setting the bar that high, I mean, good motivation, awesome, but holy cow, man, I'll tell you what, that's all, even P4, I gotta say, it's a tough ask in a field that's crowded. So of good drivers. So, and let's bring in Jonathan Dockery here tonight from Toxic Racing. How was your evening tonight, Jonathan? After I think a pretty sad finish to the Winter Challenge, if I remember the broadcast correctly. But coming back in here and running at Circuit Zolder, how'd you feel tonight?
Same story, different day. So, like, I come to the interviews because I really respect what you all are doing. You put a lot of work into it, but it doesn't matter if I qualify top 15, middle of the pack. I intentionally qualified back. I told Ian before the race, I was like, I'm qualifying in the back. And I thought it was a 43 car field, so I qualified 42nd or 43rd. My intention was to ride around for like 3 laps, but we had the wreck in the first chicane, first lap. I got bumped there. And then I don't know if Lewis was trying to clear a penalty or what, but he seemed a little off pace, and I got into the back of him getting into one of the chicanes, and that was on me. But both cars were fine. We kept going after that. And then, I don't know, 3 laps, 4 laps to go, I guess. Last chicane, went to pass a guy. He jumped the white aspirin-looking pill curb, and it went from there. So another race, another wreck. That's all I can say about my season.
Oh dear.
It went just like the winter
Yeah.
thing at Indy. I mean, doing what trying to do things clean, and I keep getting wrecked. And only thing I know how to do not to get
overall,
wrecked at
though,
this point is not race.
You got. We were just talking about how difficult it is to get a good result in this field anyway, and you ended up 18 spots up in P25. So, I mean, I know you sound disappointed and dejected, and totally understandable, but at the same time, man. So you got into incidents, and you still ended up 18 spots in P25. I was. I mean,
pretty good going.
I don't know that I could do that. So
my goal was like, Walter sent me a message, and he's like, I qualified toward the back too, and I was like, I told him, I was like, my plan is try to get the most passes, and I think at one time I was actually ahead of Walter. He may have jumped me in the pits, I'm not sure, but congrats to Chris and Jason. They had a heck of a race. I seen them coming before I pitted, and they were a second and a half back, and I was like, I'm just gonna pull over on this straightaway and let you all catch up and go because we're going into the really twisty middle part of the track, and I didn't want to be in their way. But like, I like the track. I think this morning I won the second split race here, so it's not like I can't get around the track. I'm just, my entire season has been one dismal disappointment to this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm hoping Spa's better.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, I think it was still, other than Walter, is what I'm showing. You had the second most number of passes, even with all that stuff. So, still something to hang your hat on for sure, and hopefully some momentum going into Spa. So, yeah, man. Anybody else you want to say hi to or shout out before we let you go?
Just all my practice partners. They know who they are, but. Yeah, Spa, honestly, like, I like that track. Every time we go there, we have people that gripe about, I hate the track, it's a draft fest, this, that, and the other. I really like the layout of Spa. It's got everything you want in a track. It's got uphills, downhills, chicanes, sweeping turns. Parts of it are really fast and difficult, and I love that track. But at this point, honestly, I'll be surprised if I get to finish the race there, so... We'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we do wish you the best luck. I'm sure it'll turn around here at some point. But have a great evening, and we'll see you at Spa.
Well, we got 3 races left.
Yeah.
It hasn't turned around yet this season, so we'll see. Y'all have a good
Never
one.
too late. Never too
All
late.
Right,
All right.
Take care.
All right. Later, guys.
Bye.
All right. Well, normally we would do it in order, but I feel better about leaving Jason in the standby for a little bit longer. So let's talk with race winner
every week. It's like, it's Jason
all the time.
Behind.
All the time. Yeah. Because he likes it. Pole winner, most laps led, and I'm trying to verify this. Sorry, I should have looked this up
belongs to
well before. What'd you say?
Sorry, I assumed you're going to talk about fastest lap. I didn't get that. That went to
Yes.
Jason.
Okay, all right. I tried to look that up here real quick on the screen, but anyway, either way, so I guess you're a failure then, not getting that fastest lap. You probably should just give up the points and.
You know what? I'm going to volunteer this as a drop week.
As a drop. No, man, it's congratulations again on another win. Great points finish for you. And I want to pull up the standings again one more time so people can see. While you chat, you had a 22-point lead over Pete Mobron, who had some issues. We're still not sure. Maybe you can shine some light on that. But you had a strategy, I'm sure, executed it to perfection. Had a great battle with Jason Bice, and you were able to just kind of pull out the victory there. So talk us through what you saw.
My gosh, yeah. So overall, I'm very, very happy with today. It went almost exactly as I planned. For some reason, this track has really clicked with me both this season and last season. So based on my public races this week, I was actually really, really confident going into this race. And luckily, my nerves didn't cause me to make any race-altering mistakes or anything like that. The beginning of the race, I was, in front of Edwin for a bit, and then he pitted early. So then it was me and Jason. And I was trying everything to break the draft gap, and those guys are just too good for that. So I just had to make sure I didn't make any mistakes, and I could stay as far ahead of them as possible so that they couldn't make any attempts on passing on any of the corners. And luckily that worked. And gosh, it was just so much fun, and I'm so happy it turned out the way it did, because I put a lot of practice into this one, and I had high hopes for myself, and I'm just really, really happy with how this day turned out.
Good job.
And as for Pete, I heard he got, I think a back marker got into him. I didn't see it, and I don't know who it was, but that's what I heard. So that is unfortunate for him. I know he was making a surge in the standings, and I think, barring catastrophe, this probably takes him out of competition for overall championship, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, just a few races remaining. We were just talking about that, and the chances of being able to make a large point jump are slowly diminishing, if not, completely gone. Especially with such a dominant performance with the bonus points tonight. So, but that's why that's why they play the game. That's why we run the race. So we will look forward to that moving forward. But I lost it. Ian, ask a question. I had a good. I'm telling you guys, this was the best question ever. I was waiting. I did the horrible active listening because I was already thinking about my next question. That's not what you're supposed to do, but I was doing it anyway. But now I forget it. So if you have a question, Ian, go for it.
Well, I think you've just taken up like 15 minutes of time trying to figure out who should ask which question to whom about what.
That was also a verbal delay technique. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my lord. Yeah, I mean, I think that it was I mean, what a busy track we had tonight.
Oh my god, yeah.
With 45, I think, starters, and then having that pit entry right there just before just after the heavy braking zone, did not make life easy for anyone, I don't think.
Yeah, that pit the pit exit is actually a very tricky spot. Luckily, it didn't affect me because I was never coming out or making that second turn while anyone else was coming out. Actually, that's not true. I think there was, but it didn't affect me too much. But it was a very tricky spot to have a pit exit, because when you're making that right-hand turn on turn 2, you sort of need to commit pretty early on, and you can't make any big adjustments once you're already going into that turn. So if somebody messes up their pit exit, then you really just got to hope for the best and hope that you don't, lose your rear or anything as you brake to try to accommodate them.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, getting into the pit in the first place, if you're in a trail of cars, making sure that the guy that's turning left into the chicanes to go over the start-finish straight, you don't get into the back of him, which I think I did at some point in time.
Oh yeah. This this track has some very questionable decisions on where they put the pit entrance and exit.
Yeah, well, you got to blame the Dutch for that, you know.
I had a nice, tasty Belgian beer last night, so I think that may have been partly responsible for
There you go.
how I did today.
Nice one, mate. Well, congratulations on the drive.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that.
That's really good.
Yeah, and gosh, Jason and Edwin, they were very scary to have in my rearview mirror because I was not able to leave them behind. I guess it was pretty lofty thinking that I might have a chance at that, but they quickly proved me wrong, and I'm glad that Jason got a second place finish and Edwin third place because they both raced really, really well and cleanly and just smart. So it was very fun.
Good stuff, mate. Well, that's why we do what we do, and hopefully we will continue to do this for. Well, I put it this way: the Black Friday sale's just on, and I just bought another year, so we got to do this.
There you go.
There you go.
Also, quick shout out to Judah. I know you already talked to him, but gosh, he went from P10 to P4 overall. That's pretty huge. So great job to him.
Good stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Fun to see.
Do you have any shout-outs,
Chris? Well,
I think you probably still have some folks to talk to, so I'll go ahead and hop out of here. But thanks again for everything you're doing, and thanks for the congratulations.
No worries, mate.
Absolutely.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
Well,
I guess it's. I guess you have to bring in Jason Bryce.
Yeah, well, so I just want to say, since he won't say it, I'll say shout out to Team Running on Empty out there watching in YouTube land.
Yeah, how can he abandon his team?
I don't know.
I think
they showed up in force tonight too. They showed up in force. Awesome to see. Awesome to see.
Oh
but
my gosh!
Let's bring in Jason. We made him wait quite long enough, and
I don't
know. Maybe
I don't know. You seem to be adding time onto how much time you want to make him wait each week.
Yeah, I think he's just messing.
So
with me.
I didn't actually have a. I did not.
He is. He goes, well, it's Jason. We'll just make him wait.
I wasn't actually trying to think of this genius question that I had for Chris. I was just buying more time to see how long I could push the timer on bringing Jason in. But I'll tell you what, man. P2, you were up one spot overall. You started behind Chris there, and you ended up behind Chris. It was a great race. You stayed in that front pack the whole time. You had a slightly different pit strategy than some other folks, but you were able to actually came out ahead of Chris on there. And obviously Chris is a very fast driver, so it would be tough to hold him off for very long. So yeah, I'm not knocking anything there, but overall you got to lead the race. You were in P2 for a vast majority of the time, and so how'd that feel going out there? That's a huge result.
Yeah, it felt great. So going into the pits. As he came into the pits, he probably already told you this, he was actually running out of gas. So I was also able to overtake him in the pits, and I had a shorter pit since I was in the draft the whole time and he wasn't. But when I came out and he started fighting for a P1 back, it dawned on me that my whole fuel strategy was calculated based on me having a draft for the first half of the race. So even if I could hold P1 the entire second half, that would have been bad. I likely would have run out of fuel. So I was like, well, I'm not going to fight him on this, give it back, and maybe I can challenge him on the last few laps. And Chris being Chris, that just wasn't in the cards. Maybe he'd make a mistake. Maybe he would hold true to his team's name and run out of gas.
You were open.
P2 is just fine. So.
It's funny that now that you mentioned that, I do remember we were actually riding on board when Chris passed you again, and you could hear the audible lift off the gas to let him by, and I was like, that's interesting. Yes, he's fast, but it's not like you to to just lift and let somebody by, but that makes a ton of sense if your whole strategy was based on that, and then trying to make a move at the very end. So that's good to see that you were. This wasn't.
It was tough making myself do it because between that and we had a pretty good gap, I think, at that point between us and P3, and that's the fastest part of the track. So I didn't want to compromise us both, trying to cling to something that I probably wouldn't be able to hold on to anyway. So a bit conservative, but Yeah, it was a good race, and congrats again to Chris. It seems to do it week in and week out.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah,
he
it's
does.
tough. I mean, I thought for sure we were going to have a new winner tonight, and I think we may be a little off schedule for my bold predictions at the beginning of the season, although not by much. I'm trying to look up here. You've been on a tear lately, I think, and that's good to see. Is Spa one of your? Where would you rank that in a? I'm terrible at it. I'm okay at it. I love Spa.
I was just telling John this. I love Spa as a track. I'm really not a fan of Spa in the Skippy, mainly because the draft is incredibly strong, and my attention just starts going all over the place at Spa. It was built for Formula One, and we're driving lawnmowers around, so your mind wanders on some of those straights. I feel like I have a good handle on the track. I'd be shocked if there was a podium in my future there. There's other people that are very, very quick there. So
cool.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, you've been.
What was that?
It'll make a nice change from going from something that's like massively long, where you don't see anybody for half the race,
Yeah.
to Zolder, Zolder, where you seem to pass someone every 2 seconds. It's like, oh, I've passed this person. Oh, I've passed this person, and it's like deja vu all over again.
Yeah, that is one of the things that is a lot of fun with Spa is if you find yourself near somebody of a similar skill level and speed, there's a lot of opportunity to work together, and you can make up a ton of ground. So it's really fun in that regard. But it assumes that when the dust settles after the first few laps, who's near you. So
yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
And of course you got Eau Rouge and coming up there, so nice big sets of interesting events. So how did you do? Did you see any of those events that did occur on the track, or were they all in your rearview mirror?
Chris had a really close call. It was near the end of the race. We were coming around the final chicane, and we had a weird rejoin coming out of the sand near the pits there, and my heart skipped a beat because I was certain that he was going to get collected and maybe I'd get picked up along the way. But luckily, he had his head on a swivel, of course, and it worked out. But other than that, we didn't really come across anything, but we definitely heard some chatter on the radio. So I know there's things to look at based on what I heard.
Yes, I'm sure there is. I think I might have contributed myself to one of those.
It happens. It happens.
Just you got to keep those stewards well employed after last week's relative snooze fest in that arena. So
wasn't that strange? We had 2 incidents at Nürburgring. It's crazy.
Well, most of the time driving around on your own. So
yeah, I do want to take this opportunity though. Jeffrey Decker, I don't know if you've already mentioned it, but James has been super busy lately. Ian can certainly speak to this. So I reached out to James to see if he'd mind if somebody pitched in while he was tied up. So I think Jeffrey Decker is going to be helping us out on the stewarding front for probably the next 4 or 5 weeks until James finds some free time and is able to join us. So
yeah.
I think that's
before we go
great.
any further, sorry, go ahead, Chris. Go on.
Oh no, awesome to get obviously Jeffrey Decker as a opinion that will be respected, but also just a fresh kind of perspective for a few races in there is always good to mix it up and
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So one question, sort of nothing to do with iRacing specifically or this race particularly, but were you using your new headset that you have just acquired in this race?
Good question. So tonight I was back on the index, and it was tough because my eyes had adjusted to the G2. So going back to the index, I felt like I was squinting the whole time, just because the clarity on the G2 is out of this world. But I had the G2 crash on me once yesterday, and it was plugged into a USB-C port. I moved it to a Type A, and it's been fine since. But I need more time with it on my own before I put a race and everybody else's race on the line with new gear. So if it hadn't crashed, I would have been using it. But yeah.
Okay.
Need a little more time with it, but it's I can't put into words how gorgeous the picture is. You've got one on the way. I think you both do, don't you, Chris? You've got one too coming.
That is accurate. I'm a little worried about all the field of view discussion because that was one of my main things. Although it's certainly better than the Rift S from what I'm gathering, but or at least an improvement. So either way,
in my opinion, it's really only an issue if you're coming from something that has a wider field of view. And in fact, the moment I put my index back on, the first thing that went through my mind was I would trade this little bit of field of view I just got back for the clarity in a heartbeat. So yeah, so I'll probably be selling the index and holding on to the G2.
Cool.
Yeah,
well,
there you go.
That gives me something
You
to
heard
look
it here.
forward to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Me too. Me too, for sure.
Start doing those technical reviews or something, you know.
That's right. That's right.
You guys
we can
will
do a
love
little video before the next race. Yeah.
Yeah, give Barry a run for his money.
Oh man. Yeah, right. Yeah, good luck with that. He's got the market cornered a little bit.
I think so.
Oh boy. Okay, so hey, I wanted to, since I've got, I got the other admins in here, and I wanted to save Jason for last, of course, always, but we've got a big announcement to make, and you guys, I'm blindsiding both of you guys with this, and it's not anything iRacing related for that, but I wanted to make it known, since I do feel like if anybody's even still watching, I guess we'll know if people still watch if anybody mentions it next time. But we've got some large news in the Smorl household. We found out that come May, our family will be one person bigger. We're gonna have a little girl.
Congratulations.
So, thanks.
Oh,
thanks.
wow.
Thanks.
Your life is
on to that.
Sparkles.
Yeah. We've been holding on to that one for the little nugget for a little bit, and looking for a right spot. But yeah, there really is none. So we just wanted to. We're super excited about it. We've got 2 little boys, and we got a girl on the way, and we just wanted to share that with the Sunday Night Skippy family, just because, yeah, it felt right. It felt right to let everybody know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, congratulations, mate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we just want to know, when is she going to be racing?
I'll tell you what, we got to turn down the force feedback a little bit, but we'll have her up and running in no time.
There you go.
Excellent.
As soon as she can roll over.
That's right. Yeah. Get her sitting up. Well, not even. This seat's pretty supportive. I don't even know if she needs.
There you go. Just put some sides on it.
That's funny.
Megan
should be
might not
fine.
be too happy, but
How light is that G2 anyway? Is that?
Oh, very. Yeah.
Wait till her skull hardens a little bit, I suppose. But
there you go. Good stuff. Well, really, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, that's incredible.
Really appreciate it, guys. Really appreciate it. Yeah, we're pumped. Well, all right, that was it. That was my excitement. I've been holding on to that one all night, so I was a little distracted with that. But at any rate, nice finish tonight, Jason. It was good. It was good seeing you up there, running up front, and thanks again, Ian, for doing the in-race broadcasting. I still don't know how you do it. If anybody looks back at the Watkins Glen when I tried to stream and talk at the same time, it was hopefully you just gain an appreciation for what he does. So
yes.
Yeah, other than that, you guys have anything else before we say goodnight to our loving and adoring fans? Actually, somebody is still watching, by the way, so that's it.
Yeah, well, good night from me.
Yeah, good night, and thanks for everything you guys do.
Take it easy, guys. See you next week.
Indeed, Spa is coming at you. Only 3 races remain in the season. Really looking forward to see how everything shakes out. And I'm honestly looking forward to Bathurst at the end of the season. That's where I'm looking, but Spa is going to be fun either way. And I know Ian loves to say the turn names there at Spa. and looking forward to it. So, at any rate, have a good night. We'll see you same bad time, same bad channel next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a great week and stay safe out there. Wear your damn masks. See ya.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Good night.